Well, I've been in the United States for 25 years now, and ever since I came to the United States, I've realized that there was a very poor understanding generally about what Islam is and what Muslims are all about. A lot of the learning that you would hear from Americans, the public in general, would be stuff that they saw on TV or read in the newspapers, and that's always very dramatic and always very sensationalized. So after 9/11, I was called a lot to serve as spokesperson for the community and to speak out against those acts of terrorism as they had happened on 9/11. And the community chose me for different reasons, one of which was the ability to articulate Islam, of course, to the public. The command of the English language was certainly another feature, as well as the knowledge of Islam. And at a time when Islam was under the microscope and under scrutiny, Muslim communities needed individuals that could articulate about Islam. So I was selected among others to do so for the community. And I did so in many circumstances with the media and with radio stations, both TV and radio, to again clear the misconceptions about Islam and to be sure that the American public understood how to distinguish between Islam and its teachings and the actions of a Muslim person. And the two might not be the same, as we have seen in many cases, where somebody might be called Muhammad or Ali or Abdullah, but their actions do not necessarily reflect their faith. So this has been a challenge, really, because the American public until today is faced with that situation where as soon as you're called Muslim, they want to associate your religion and your faith quickly to the action that you committed, whatever that action might be. Media coverage, which has never been in our favor here in the United States. Occasionally it has been, but for the most part, the media has sensationalized stories wherever Muslims were involved in those issues, whether they were here or abroad. And we were faced with those challenges of how Islam was being covered. And Edward Said had also written a whole book about this, covering Islam. And clearly he brings out these issues where the media, when they cover Islam, they immediately are biased, and there's a specific range of language that they use and terms that they use to capture the story or to explain what the story is all about. And we've seen this a lot, even here in Tennessee. So we've tried to fight that. In fact, this drives home the point that Muslim experts are needed in the media. Journalists are needed, camera experts and film experts are needed. People who have skills in the film industry and multimedia are needed, certainly, because there's a lot of work to be done where Muslims need to use expertise of such individual to bring about a better understanding of Islam and use the tools of the media as well as mass media, whether it's radio or TV, to get the word out there and get the correct word out there. Because there are other people who are speaking on behalf of Islam who are not qualified to speak on behalf of Islam, who may not even be Muslims. And so there is a need for Muslims to speak on different issues that affect them and their communities as American Muslims, and to speak and to do so with the right tools, resources, and individuals. Well, one of the things that we do is we make sure that we stay on the subject matter and we do not get emotional about it, because a lot of the mistakes that we do is we overreact to the question and our emotions take over, and our answers then are not the best answers. So we need to make sure that we remove ourselves from the emotions, and we narrow down the discourse and the answer to an educational answer where we seek to teach the truth and to teach it in the best way possible. Now, it might be that what we're saying is something that is hurtful, or what we're being asked is something that is hurtful rather than what we're saying. Here, I mean, the question that we're being asked seems very malicious sometimes, but we need to calm down and be able to answer in a very educated way. And I think we'll do a great service to Islam if we approach our answers and our responses in this manner. The youth are very important for our community and for American Muslims in general, because many of the youth, almost all of them, were either born and raised here. And so you have individuals who are very familiar with this country. They are familiar with the culture, with their surroundings. They speak excellent English. And so that is the face that we need to put out there more and more as the American Muslim face. The idea behind that is to prepare them, of course, and to make sure that they're competent as those who can speak on behalf of Islam, and that also that they will know the ways and the know-how of how to engage the public when it comes to articulating any matter about Islam. One of the areas where Muslims are lacking and have been missing for decades now is participation in the public square. And the public square is the right of citizenship of every American Muslim that lives in this country. They have the rights to citizenship to where they're allowed to engage the public square in a meaningful way. Here we mean that anybody who represents Muslims, whether they are county officials, whether they are senators, whether they are congressmen, whether they are from other boards, commissions and so on, any of these sort of public places where there is representation, then Muslims who live in that particular county and in that particular district and so on, they need to engage their leaders. They need to engage those that have been nominated, those that have been elected into those positions, those that now serve the public and particularly the areas that they live in. They need to be more participatory. They need to go out. They need to get to know who these individuals are. They need to understand the issues that are happening and that are taking place on the ground, where they can give their opinion and voice their concerns to those that represent them. For example, I'll give you a very quick example. Where I live in Bellevue, Tennessee, they had sent a notice to members of that entire neighborhood, which is a very large neighborhood really. And they asked them to come out to a meeting, a community meeting. They were now thinking of beautifying Bellevue. They wanted to improve one of the parks where it's a children's park where a lot of the children can get to go to play, families can be there, you know, and so on. And they invited members of the Bellevue neighborhood to come out and share their ideas and share their concerns and come up with any other things that they find to be important in this whole concept of beautifying the neighborhood, improving the parks, and the family areas where families would go with their kids. Well, you know, when that notice was sent out, immediately I knew one of the repercussions of that is that come that meeting, there'll not be a single Muslim family or representatives from that family that would be there. And sure enough, when we went to that meeting, there was not a single Muslim family that was there. And in that neighborhood, over 200 families live there. And they are going to use those resources. They're going to go to those family areas. They're going to go to those playgrounds with their kids, and they may have great ideas about how to beautify that neighborhood. Well, they should have come out. They should have been more participatory. They should have been more engaging with the community, and so people can hear their voices and their concerns, and people can begin to know and understand that, you know what, Muslims live here also. They're part of our community. They are also citizens like us, and they also too have ideas, and some of these ideas may be great ideas.